I do not even know how to begin. I'm so absolutely overwhelmed by what Syed Saab is and this campus is. Just 2 days ago, when we found out in Ahmedabad that going to Mangalore is difficult in the sense that it takes a whole day, there is no direct flight. And therefore my wife and son said, "Why are you going? What is the purpose? What will you get? Why don't you tell them that you can't come?" Believe me, if I had not come, I would have missed one of the most important events of my life. And I'm in it. And I'm in it because of number of reasons. Number one, to have met Syed Saab. My relationship with him is 4 days old. I had never met him. I met him only yesterday evening. And drive from the airport to the hotel, and this morning I realized I haven't met a person like him. And that is not what is said, but I told myself that if I was a woman, I would like to marry him. Ma'am, don't feel bad. He is such an incredible visionary, a man with huge heart and ability. And therefore it's my privilege, Syed Saab, to be here with the students, with the faculty, and in the campus. Before I start my presentation, which is slightly odd presentation for this audience, let me make 3 observations. Number one is this. One of the most important things that has happened to us as mankind, one of the most important things that we learn is that save tiger, save lion, save birds, save rivers, save Amazon, save Ganges, save Himalayas, and with climate change, save the world, this beautiful planet. Question that comes up to me all the time is, what has happened to us 6 feet, 5 feet 6 inch human being, and we become such huge destroyers? Why have we become destroyers of environment, destroyers of forests, destroyers of birds, destroyers of wildlife? And we got to think about it every single day ourselves, that we have become destroyers. And we have got to reconvert ourselves. We have got to become creators. And a campus like this makes you a creator. And I'm very happy that this campus has this huge ability to inspire this creativity. This is number one. I was listening to this presentation today, and I heard something which took me back approximately 65 years. When I was a student of architecture in Ahmedabad, the SEPT University. And I was fighting an election, students' election. And I wrote a manifesto. And I came across this manifesto just last year in the old books. And what I wrote was this, that this campus is not to create good architects, successful architects, or fashionable architects. This campus must create leaders of the society. And I'm very glad that is what was spoken today, that this campus is not to create good professionals, good technologists, good architects and good engineers. This campus is to create good leaders. And this society badly needs good leaders. So that's the second thing. And my third thing, sir, is the request to you. I request, and this is the funny thing, take one of the caps and put it in my head. The reason is I don't have a degree. And my wife last 60 years tell me I don't have a degree. So if I had to I'm 83 years old, there is no way to go back to the college. But I thought if I had to get a degree, I will get it from this campus, and I'll get it from a man like Syed Saab. So please give me degree, please take photograph, send it to my wife, and tell her that I have a degree. Thank you very much.
Don't worry, you have one companion also. I'm also a school dropout. I never had a degree, so you have to give me that degree on my head.
After that. So, sorry, I have a big head and nothing will fit there, but this is fine. Okay, fine. Thank you very much. My wife now knows that I have a degree. Thank you very much, sir.
So now you have to put on my head to make sure that my wife can witness.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. No, this to me, sir.
No, this is fine.
No, you have to put.
Oh, I have to put it. Oh, you're. So this is to you, sir. Ma'am, he has a degree now. He has a degree. Please allow him to come home. Thank you very much. Thank you. And now to my speech. I have been given 20 minutes to speak. I hope you will not count this few minutes, into my speech time. And he was kind enough to ask me to speak on cities without slums, country without slums. And I couldn't have found a better subject to speak on. The reason is this: for the last 65 years, day and night, I've thought about people who are homeless, thought about people who are in poor living conditions, and work for solutions, work for ideas, work for innovation. So thank you very much to ask me to speak something which is very near to my heart. Now, look this very beautiful picture here, and it's titled Cities Without Slums. A few years ago, I made this picture in one of the meetings on slums, on housing, and I've never forgotten to use this picture. The reason is, all the beauty we are seeking in cities, all the grace you are looking in our cities is in this particular photograph. And therefore, I'm not saying this is a city without slums, but if you're thinking about cities, if you're dreaming about cities without slum, this photograph is worth remembering. Let's move to the second slide. Basically speaking, what I'm saying is slums are solvable. And I'm going to put forward a 20-point formula. And I'm also, if I have time, talk about a replicable model that has come up out of all places in the world in India. I don't know have the time, but if I have time, I would talk about it. And if I don't, I promise you to come back to talk about it next year or any other time, but I'll do that. Can we get the first image? First image from your side. No. First. Now this is a very important image, very important photograph. These are two houses. Ambani's house in Mumbai and Ambika's house in Mumbai. They are just 400 meters away. Just 400. That house costs $1 billion. $1 billion. And this house doesn't have a room, doesn't have a water, does not have electricity. An interesting part of the story is both houses play the same role. They provide shelter, they provide bedroom, they provide kitchen, they provide everything that a home is about. And the reason this particular picture I use time and again when I talk about slums, slum is not an issue of housing. Slum is not an issue of resources. It's not only issue of land. It's issue of inequality in our society. And this particular picture talks about that inequality. And I wanted that particular picture to begin with in order to put in context what I'm talking about. Okay. This is something which is very important, and I'm going to use 2 minutes to say this. Because believe me, no one will talk about this as a prelude to talking about slum. What is a shelter? And listen to me what I read now. I'm saying a house is a place that becomes a home. House gets converted into home through the chemistry of love, care, compassion, affection, togetherness, and giving. This 7 things makes house into a home. There is no questions of air conditioner, no questions of electrification, nothing. Words I'm using are this: love, care, compassion, affection, togetherness, and giving. This is what converts a house into a home. Number 2, it's a place, this is very important, where a family is born, where values are shaped, and where culture germinates. This is a place where values are born, where family is created, and where culture happens. It's a cradle of the humanity. A person is not only born and dies here, a society gets created in the house. Society is created in the house. Not only person is born, because we become neighbors, we become society. And of course there is many more things I won't have the time to go through. But basically what I'm saying is this: housing is not only a national challenge. Housing is a societal challenge, something that we talk about, and this campus is trying to do that. Okay, if you're talking about slums, you're going to be talking about cities, because we are talking about slums in cities, and I'm going to tell you in 1 minute what cities are. You may not have heard about this. The cities are engines of economic growth. There is no question about it. They are crucible of culture and art. They are repository of technology. They are source of knowledge, power, and creativity. They are recipient of global investment. They reflect modernity, progress, vitality, and dynamism. And last resort of hope of people trying to escape rural poverty. Cities are all this. And everyone wants to live happily in cities. Question is, how many live happily? Sir, this is the word you used to me in the morning. How many live happily in our cities? And I'm saying, very few live very happily. A large number of them live in stress, and a very, very large number of them live in distress. So this is the story of our cities in terms of what they produce and give. Now, this is something very important, and I think all the students should learn it. It's a simple thing. And Sayed Saab, you should remember this. This is the meaning and importance of cities. Cities occupy just 2% of the world's land, just 2%. They account for 70% of the world's GDP. 70%, 2% of the land. They consume 75% of world's resources. And they throw 75% of world's waste in the environment. And therefore cities are diabolic. They are Jekyll and Hyde. On the one side, they produce growth. On the other side, they create enormous problems of sustainability. And therefore, there is no overall sustainability without urban sustainability. Therefore, if your cities are not sustainable, the world will not be sustainable. So this is the story. Only 2%. And will become 5% and 10% in the next 100 years. But just imagine if we are not sustainable, what will happen? I think this is a very important statement. This is from Habitat 2, which is world's biggest meeting that takes place every 10 years, which says, as we approach the new millennium, the world stands at a veritable crossroads in history. Urbanization holds out both the bright promise of an unequal future and grave threat of an unparalleled disasters. Cities could be a great promise, cities could be a great disaster. And what it will be depends on what we do today. If we do not look for our cities well, if we do not plan well, if we don't allow them to become more equitous, we are waiting for a disaster. And in the Indian context, this is a good question to ask. In the Indian context, is revolution in urban problem solving visible anywhere? Because the way of approaching cities. And I'm asking this question, is there anywhere revolution visible in our way we approach city? And answer is no. Ganges is being cleaned for 40 years. 74th constitutional amendment happened 32 years ago. Dharavi development work is going on for last 35 years. And we must remember that not only there is no revolution and urban problem solving, there is a huge problem of what is happening. Now I wanted to kind of come back and tell you very briefly in 1 minute, what is India's urbanization? Can we move to the next slide? You'll be very surprised, Syed Saab, that in 1951, immediately after the independence, India had just 62 million people in cities. 62. In 2011, we have 372 million. And in 2050, we would have 820 million people living in cities. In a period of 100 years, huge growth that is taking place in urbanization. Now, this is a very interesting slide that I would like you to look at. And this is in order to understand what is a problem if we don't manage our cities well. It took 43 years to double India's urban population with a small base of 25 million. Second doubling happened in 26 years. Third doubling happened in 20 years. And the fourth doubling is happening in 17 years with a very big base. And this is the diagram. This is the doubling, this is the doubling, this is the doubling. The point I'm trying to make is this, that if we do not understand the nature of the challenge, we won't be able to go anywhere. And these three images that I'm giving you tells us what are we doing with our cities. My first image is Mumbai. It's the finance capital of the country. And it has more people living in slums than ordinary housing. Finance capital of the country. And more people living in slums than ordinary house. It's a wealth capital of the country. Delhi is the political capital of the country. And its air is so polluted that they say it's not even livable. It's not healthy to live there. And then third, we have Varanasi, the spiritual, religious capital of India. And its river Ganges, our mother, is so polluted that for the last 40 years, we are trying to clean it. If your finance capital, if your political capital, if your religious capital is in this condition, what would you have done with your Porbandars and your Barabankis? Story I'm saying is this, that we have a huge problem in how we are managing our cities. Now, I have finished about 15 minutes of my time, and I've not even started. But can I take 5 minutes more, sir? Okay.
But only 5 minutes.
Huh?
Only 5 minutes.
Okay. But let me kind of tell you a story of slums. 1 billion people, 1,000 million people live in slums in the world. And that is because of rapid urbanization, rapid industrialization. And they have limited access to water, health services, education. They live in very poor condition, basically speaking. And this particular, in India, situation is even worse. We have something like 130 million people living in slums by statistics that came out in 2011. And these people are living in what I call dehumanizing conditions. That is, a large number of people live in poor conditions, without water, without sanitation, without toilets, without electrification, without education, without trees, without open spaces. So that you know all that. So, but it is not that country has not done anything. I have a whole list of things that country has done. I won't go into it. But government of India is very active, one of the most active anywhere in the world in terms of finding solutions. Now I move to my basic presentation. A 20-point formula that I have evolved over a period of last 30, 40, 50 years. And what is this? When I say slums are solvable, I'm not talking about housing, I'm not talking about technology, I'm not talking about resources, I'm talking about something else. I'm talking about attitudinal shift. I'm saying eliminating poverty and slums require a massive paradigm shift in thinking about and acting towards the poor. You've got to think very differently about the people if you want a solution. That they are an asset, not a burden. They are a resource, not a liability. And they are people eager to improve their lives and ready to take steps that effect once long-standing constraints are removed. If you remove constraints, they are ready to improve their conditions. Slums are people, not only places. Remember this. Slums are not places, they are people. And slum is also a solution, not only a problem. Now, I started talking about this 40, 50 years ago. The slums are solutions. Now I say slums are problem and solutions. Now I say slums are approaches to solution. Once growth, once understanding has improved, but fact remains that if you want to solve the problem, you've got to start seeing it very differently. And now I come to 20-point formula that I have. And I won't really go through everything. I will just say a few things very quickly because there is not enough time. So I'm saying, do not bulldoze. First thing, do not bulldoze. This is a new bulldoze culture society. Don't bulldoze. Do not evict. And do not shun them as ugly eyesores. They are not ugly eyesores. Do not see the residents as criminal or parasites. They are people like you and me. They are hardworking people. In fact, they run our laundry. They clean our kitchen. They supply us vegetables. And whether we like it or not, they are the ones who are building our cities. They are the ones who are building our cities, those who live in slums. No one else. I, as an architect, draw it on a beautiful paper on a computer. Sir Sahib writes checks. Those who build are the people who live in slums. They are the ones who are building our cities. That's one. Second thing which I think is very important is, even if we do not see this as a solution for a change, we should see it from their angle, from their perspective. And what is that? It might be a problem for us. It might be a problem for municipal commissioner, but it's a solution for the one who lives there. And therefore, they are there and they are dirty, not because people are dirty. They are dirty because municipality has not cared to provide them services. Your and my bungalow will be dirty if municipality did not provide water and sanitation services. So those are ugly, those are dirty, not because of them, because of our municipalities. Now, so what is needed? What I'm saying is, this is the whole formula that's evolved world over. Don't worry about housing. If you ask slum dwellers, pakka housing, formal housing. If you ask slum dwellers, all over the world there are surveys which says our first priority is location, where we are. Our first priority is security for eviction. Our first priority is water. Our first priority is electricity. Our first priority is children's education because we don't want our children to be where we are. Our first priority is employment, income. Somewhere 8th or 9th is the pakka house. Anywhere in the world, Latin America, Africa, Asia, everywhere answer is the same. Only politician of this country and the world believe that you do Pakka housing. And the moment you start committing yourself to Pakka housing, you are not able to do what you're supposed to do. So therefore, point I'm trying to make is this, that Pakka house is not a demand need of the slum dweller. It is the location, is transport, is water, is open space, is children's education and employment and income. My next point, which is very important, which makes slums are solvable, provide them secure land tenure. Now, this is the crux of the issue. People know how to build houses. India has 6,38,000 villages and 200 million houses. Who has built those houses? People themselves. No architects, no engineers, no building bylaws, no real estate. And you'll be very surprised, Syed Saab. The biggest producers of housing in our cities even today are the slum dwellers. Statistics is like this. Whereas public sector produces 1.5 house, private sector produces 2.5. 6% is done by people. And out of their contribution of the slums is 4%. The biggest producers of housing in our cities are the people themselves, the slum dwellers. And therefore, it's very important for you to understand. And if you provide them secure tenure, if you remove the burden of evictions, they would be able to live well. They'll be able to establish themselves. They'll be able to kind of earn. They will be able to afford housing at some point of time. Now, solution that I'm talking about, and out of 20 things that I've talked about, I've just talked 4 or 5. And I'm going to stop pretty soon because it's not correct for me to take all the time. But point I'm trying to make is this, that slum is solvable if you understand people, if you understand the housing processes, if you understand what is critically needed, and if you deal with poverty rightly. And because I have to jump, let me quickly come, I'll take just 3 minutes, sir, and finish. I don't know whether you getting, one before that. Earlier. This is a poster which talks about a webinar series that I'm running for last 4 years. It's called Rethinking City. And this is a poster of 120 webinars I've done. Now, and the reason I'm talking about is this is what I told you, that India's urban challenge is very difficult. Government alone cannot do it. Business, industry, civil society must get together to help doing it, and we are trying to create awareness. Next slide. This slide essentially talks about slums are solvable. We are running this webinar series. We already finished 2 out of 6. Third is taking place on the 14th. And what we're saying is Odisha shows the way. After 70 years of work in this country, Odisha government is doing a project which is doing exactly what we're talking about. A government is doing what we're talking about. Can we go back to the next slide? This particular is a symbolic slides. This slide has all the people in this country, in the world, who are together in doing this. We have Anna Claudia, CEO of United Habitat, Munro, who's the Chief of Cities Alliance. We have Secretary Government of India, Secretary Government of Orissa. We have Secretary of the biggest institution of learning in England. We have fighters and activists from Asia, Africa, and Latin America. These 9 people in the world for the last 40 years are fighting for a solutions. And this particular, and we brought them together on the 30th September to give meaning to this whole thing. This is the second one I'm going to. Now let me just take 2 minutes to tell what is happening in Orissa. This is a very special project being done by government of Orissa, and I would like to come back here to give you 1 hour long presentation in terms of what is happening in Orissa. But all that I talked about, they have done. They redefined slum problems. They've given land to 250,000 families. They have helped up build houses. They've provided services. They've capacitated local self-government, and they've created an environment in terms of how could this be done across the country. And I'm trying to take this model across the country through this webinar. I don't really have much time, but I've taken more time than I should took. Thank you very much. There is so much to be talked about. I'll come next time and talk to you. Thank you very much.